Well, the fallout continues tonight for Will Smith after the violence on stage at the Oscars. Thanks for staying with us. I'm Tamsin Fidel.
I'm Corey Chambers in for Aaron A. The Academy Board of Governors now expected to meet tomorrow to discuss potential consequences for Will Smith after he slapped Chris Rock on stage. Yeah,
Smith released a statement last night reading in part, violence in all of its forms is poisonous and destructive. He called his behavior unacceptable and inexcusable and publicly apologized to Chris, admitting he was wrong and was out of line.
But both actors may need to do some damage control to smooth things over with their fans. Joining us now with some insight is Evan Nierman, crisis management expert. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you. Good to be with you.
All right. So Tamsin was just reading a part of the statement.
Yeah.
Okay, violence in all of its forms is poisonous and destructive. My behavior at last night's Academy Awards was unacceptable and inexcusable. Jokes at my expense are part of the do you really think Will Smith wrote that? Does anyone believe that he actually wrote that?
Well, it doesn't really matter who wrote it. It matters that it's attributed to Will Smith and it went out there. I suspect some guy like myself or some woman like myself actually wrote it. But the sentiment is the right sentiment, and it was better that he said it. The perfect time to have said something like that would have been moments after it actually happened and from the stage at the Oscars, and then it truly would have been Will Smith who said it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, he has said it, and that is a good thing, and it will provide a platform, I believe, for him to move forward from this.
Okay, so we hear from him, but we have not heard from Chris Rock at all. Should he break his silence? And if he does, I mean, what does he say? What's the right thing, I guess, to say?
Well, actually, Chris Rock doesn't have a whole lot that he needs to say or should say because he didn't charge the stage and assault anybody. I think Will Smith, the onus is on Will Smith. I think it took him a little bit too long to issue that statement. Better late than never, but I feel bad. I do applaud the ability of Chris Rock to shake that off and then proceed and continue. That was not some light tap across the face. That was a serious slap to his face. He did carry on. I suspect we will hear from Chris Rock at some point, and I think when Chris Rock accepts, as I expect he will, the apology from Will Smith, then we will start to really be able to move forward from this.
Well, I agree with you just real fast because it's not just the physical slap, but just emotion, like the embarrassment, the mix of emotions live on, on stage, televised.
Yes.
That's a lot to take in.
You know, it's funny as you talk about the statement and we're talking now, I'm thinking in my head, do we need Oprah to get involved? I mean, does Oprah need to sit down with Will Smith so we can actually hear him in his own words, right? Because look, statements are statements are statements, and every person who's ever done anything wrong in their life puts out a statement that someone else has written and says, oh, I'm going to go to counseling and blah, 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 blah. Like, we've been through this, right? But to see somebody say it in their own words, to sit down, to have that moment.
Sure.
It's different, right?
It needs to be Oprah or someone like Oprah. I think the most important thing is, look, we used to think about Will Smith and we thought about his greatest hits. Now we just think about the hit itself. He needs to change the narrative, and he also needs to change the optics. The only way to do that is for Will Smith, as quickly as possible, to go out, get on camera with someone in the media so that we can see Will Smith and hear from Will Smith. Mm-hmm. He needs imagery, not just words on an Instagram post. We're accustomed to seeing Will Smith on the big screen. We need to see him and hear the words come out of his mouth. And if I were advising Will Smith, I would say, we need to get you booked immediately. We need to get you on camera, and you better come across as authentic and truly regretful.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that hasn't happened before now, but I guess, with everything that's still going on, this is very, very active in terms of what's happening. The Academy's set to meet tomorrow to potentially decide Will Smith's fate. And I don't think he could have ever thought it was going to get to hear that night when he went up to accept his award. So what do you think the course of action is going to be that they're going to take? And then how could it impact him overall career-wise?
No one knows exactly the conversations that are taking place behind closed doors, but I think it puts the Academy and others in a tough spot because what he did was clearly so wrong and so outside the bounds of what's acceptable. Now, the good thing for Will Smith is clearly the rules don't apply to him the same they would to any of us. If any of us had gone up on the stage, we would have been in handcuffs and spent the night in jail. So he's already been treated differently. Mm-hmm. Plus, I think Will Smith, he's a beloved actor. He's clearly very talented. And the public is going to be more willing to forgive and forget when it comes to Will Smith than they would have been if he were just some guy off the street.
You know, I saw a lot of various takes. There's been like a million hot takes
Right.
on this one, right? But I read a piece, I think, yesterday that was saying, and mind you, Will Smith, he's like the most famous black man on the planet. He is one of the biggest movie stars, period, of any ethnicity on the planet. But the headline was saying, look, we may have witnessed the end of sort of the movie star. We may have witnessed the end of Will Smith as we know it. You're shaking your head no. Why do you say no? And please elaborate.
Will Smith is too big to be canceled over this. Look, it is a regretful, horrible incident. It's bad. I'm a big Will Smith fan myself. I recently read his autobiography, and one of the things that he spoke about very stirringly in that was the negative implications for his own family and for him that he saw when his father committed physical violence against his mother. So to see Will Smith then exhibit those same behaviors was shocking. But make no mistake about it, Will Smith is too big to be canceled, even by this. And what's regretful is what should have been a crowning achievement, if you pardon the King Richard pun, should have been the crowning achievement on his life as a movie star. He sullied it forever with the images that we saw. But Will Smith is not done.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that he's not done, but I don't agree this goes away anytime soon, and reference to it for a long, long time. Yeah. So, Evan, thanks so much for joining us and talking with us about this. I feel like there's so much more to unfold, really, because there's so many different aspects of this.
Thank you again.
Thank you for having me.